you for that. We'll now hold our wreath laying ceremony. Those who have donated wreaths, please stand and follow the BYU Idaho Honor Guard. We're going to go ahead and read each of the businesses off, the business who donated a wreath today. And then after this program, the wreaths will be taken to the 5-County Veterans Freedom Memorial at Smith Park, where you can view them. Lynn Archibald with Archibald Insurance. Basic American Foods, Brian Gustafson. Beehive Federal Credit Union, Craig Copia. Biomat USA Grip Oil, Michael Prince. Blackfoot Connect to More, LaDon Gobel. BYU Idaho, Brad Sampson. City of Rexburg, Todd Davidson. City of Sugar City, Mayor David Ogden. Dr. Robert Correa, Renee Louis. East Idaho Credit Union, Brittany Holman. Grand Peaks Medical and Dental, Lori Sessions. Home Care Pulse, Aaron Markham. Idaho Central Credit Union, Ashley Duda. June's Place, June Lockhart. Kiwanis, Zach XL. Madison Memorial Hospital, David Hibbert. Mountain America Credit Union, Francisco Palesco. Porter's Office Products, Mark Porter. ProClean Services, Camille Evans. Rexburg Civic Club, Nancy Anderson. Serve Pro of Rexburg Rigby, Skylar Price. Standard Journal, Jeremy Cooley. Upper Valley Realtors, Charlie Taylor. Washington Federal, Bryce Lawrence. And Westmark Credit Union, James Greco. If everyone will please give them a round of applause. You can be dismissed. Go ahead and see. We'll now have the high school band play the service hymns from each branch of the military. When those veterans hear their service hymn being played, we invite you to stand up while your song is being played.
We'll start with the Air Force. Next will be the Army. Next is the Coast Guard. The Marines. The Navy.
We'll now move to the honoring of our hero portion of the program. First, I'd like to honor one of our local heroes. Will retired Lieutenant Colonel Rob Jones please stand? Bob was raised in Oregon, attended high school in La Grande, and college at Oregon State University in Corvallis. After graduation at OSU, Bob worked and entered the United States Air Force in Salem. During his 20 years of active military service, he maintained his home of record in Oregon. During his 20 years in the United States Air Force, Bob spent a total of 4 years in Southeast Asia during the Vietnam War, a year in Korea with assignments with the Presidential Wing at Andrews Air Force Base in Maryland, and then 3 years at the Pentagon. He was awarded 24 medals and military decorations, including the Vietnam Gallantry Cross with Palm, the Korean Defense Medal, and the Bronze Star. I'd like to recognize him for his 25th medal he just was awarded. Lieutenant Colonel Jones was recently awarded the Oregon State Veterans Medal of Honor Award, and I want to recognize him for that.
Thank you so much. That was a big surprise. That wasn't supposed to be on the program. Good morning. It's another beautiful day in Southeast Idaho. Another great day to be a student at Madison High School. Go Bobcats! It's also another beautiful day to be an American. I'm wearing today the uniform of a World War I doughboy. Pay no attention to the rumors that this was the actual uniform that I wore during that war. I'd like to add my thanks to the administration here at Madison High School for inviting us to share this special Veterans Day ceremony. In many of our minds, we think every day is Veterans Day. However, Congress has formally recognized a special day to celebrate Veterans Day. Veterans Day is an official U.S. holiday that honors and celebrates the service of all United States military veterans who served in the armed forces. It's observed on November 11th, and it coincides with other holidays, such as Armistice Day and Remembrance Day, which are celebrated in other parts of the world. It also marks the anniversary of the end of World War I. Major hostilities of World War I were formally ended the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, when the armistice with Germany went into effect. This year, 2018, marks the 100th anniversary of the ending of World War I. Therefore, we chose this topic as our theme for this year's presentation. To begin, I'm going to share a brief overview of some of the important aspects of the war and facts. Then, in the brief time we have remaining, I want to share the service and sacrifices of World War. I want to bring these to life today, each and every one of you, as much as possible. To do this, Jerry, following me, is going to recognize the actual involvement of a hometown hero, Sugar City, who served in World War I. Now, for some brief background information. World War I was also known as the First World War, the Great War, or the War to End All Wars. It was a global war originating in Europe that had lasted from 28 July 1914 to 11 November 1918. It led to the mobilization of more than 70 million military personnel, slightly larger than the population of Rexburg. The combats were originally divided into two coalitions. The Allies, which included France, Russia, Great Britain on one side, and the Triple Alliance of Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Italy on the other side. As the war widened, Japan and eventually the United States joined to form the Allied powers, while the Ottoman Empire and Bulgaria joined Germany and Austria to create the Central Powers. Now, America's entry into World War I came on April the 6th, 1917, after more than 2.5 years of efforts, now this is interesting, by President Woodrow Wilson to keep the United States out of the war. However, after German U-boats started sinking American merchant ships in the North Atlantic, President Wilson asked Congress for a, quote, a war to end all wars. That would make the world safe for democracy. And finally, Congress voted to declare war on Germany on April the 6th, 1917. On December 7th, 1917, the U.S. declared war on Austria-Hungary, and U.S. troops began arriving in large numbers on the Western Front. Now, the total number of military and civilian casualties in World War I was about 40 million personnel. Estimates range from 15 to 19 million deaths of military and 23 million wounded military personnel, making it among the most deadliest conflicts in human history. Now, the United States was only involved in combat in World War I for 7 months. However, during this short period, approximately 116,000 American soldiers were killed and another 204,000 were injured. World War I finally ended on June 28, 1919. Germany formally surrendered on November 11, and all nations agreed to stop fighting while the terms of peace were negotiated. On June 28, 1919, Germany and the Allied nations, including Britain, France, Italy, and Russia, signed the Treaty of Versailles, formally ending the war. One good thing that came out of the war was the League of Nations was formed after World War I to prevent future world wars. It helped Europe to rebuild after the war, and initially 53 nations joined. However, the U.S. Senate refused to let the United States join, and President Woodrow Wilson, who actually established the League of Nations, suffered a nervous breakdown, spending the rest of his term as president as an invalid. With that background, I'm now going to turn the time over to local Veterans of Foreign Wars coach Jerry Steed to share with us some of the heroics of our local World War I hero. Jerry, the time is yours.
Okay, the first thing I'd like to ask, how close do you think this is 100 years? Yeah, you're right. Pretty close. It ends up being about 858, but who's counting? The person that I want to recognize and speak about today is Private Thomas Graf Niebuhr. That last name is spelled N-E-I-B-A-U-R. Keep that in your mind. Remember that. You as students, when we leave this assembly, I'd like to ask you to go home, or to your computers, or to your laptops, or whatever it is, and look that name up. Remember, Thomas C. Niebuhr. I have to be very careful because when I was reciting this over the phone to a sister of mine, I have a grandfather, and I have 6 grandfathers who was Thomas, and I kept saying Thomas J. Steed. Remember, it's Niebuhr, N-E-I-B-A-U-R. I'd like to remind every one of you to keep in mind, to remember that the important thing to do is self-improvement. Continue throughout your lives to make yourself and look at things that's going to make to develop yourself, whether that's in your mind, athletic-wise, or emotionally. And with that said, I'd like to ask all the veterans to join me in a salute. Because remember, we're going to keep this a little bit short. And I'm going to ask you to go home and take a look at this gentleman up. Remember Thomas C. Nibel. I'd like the veterans of foreign order, please join me in the salute. If you'd stand. The American Legion. The all active duty personnel, retired military personnel, the firefighters, the policemen, everybody that has access to a uniform, please join me in a salute. And salute. We salute you, Thomas Clough Nyborg, for your dedicated service and the Medal of Honor that you received. Order, arms. We will now have the taps. Gazette, arms. Order, arms. Remember that name, Thomas C. Nibel. Thank you.
Okay, now we will hear from the Madison Fire Department's Pipe Brigade, who will be playing Amazing Grace. now we're going to have a moment of silence. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Once again, I'd like to personally thank all those who attended this Veterans Day Memorial Program. Special thanks to the BYU Idaho Army ROTC, City of Rexburg Police, Madison Fire Department Pipe Brigade, Madison High School for hosting us, Madison High School Band, Dan North, Steve Klinger, Rexburg Floral for doing the wreaths for us, and the VFW Post 3012 and Auxiliary. We really do appreciate you. Right after this event, we'll be presenting a donation from the Chamber to the Auxiliary of the VFW Post 3012 here on the stage. This meeting will adjourn at 11:05. Until that time, we'll have Director Dan North and the high school band play music until 11:05, and then we'll be dismissed.